続いては報告2、経済学による政策のエンパワーメント、アジア太平洋地域における国連人口基金と NTTA と題しまして、国際連合人口基金アジア太平洋地域事務所人口と開発に関する地域技術専門官Wassana MM 様よりご発表をいただきたいと思います。Now I'd like to invite Dr. MM to the stage.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be here, and thanks to invitation from IPSS, especially from Director General Reiko Hayashi and also Dr. Setsuya Fukuda for inviting us to be here. For me, from UNFPA, I've been the NTA coordinator for UNFPA Asia Pacific Regional Office in the past 4 years. But before that, I was with UNFPA Thailand. So I recall the time that Thailand and UNFPA collaboration set up in around 2010, I think. I recall at that time we had the Deputy Secretary General or Executive Director of UNFPA, Dr. Hiro Endo, who worked with NUPRI and also brought NTA training to Thailand. At that time, it was a puzzle for me to learn about NTA. And today, I became the coordinator of the project in Asia Pacific, including 22 countries that we have our offices, plus even in the Pacific with 14 countries, we also have this NTA interest and engagement. So I would like to really cover how we can engage policy planners in Asia Pacific and also share what we have done in terms of NTA work. Big picture in terms of population growth, really, if you are talking about Asia Pacific, 22 countries where we work, we have only 3 countries in which they have still high population growth rate. The first one is Afghanistan, second one is Pakistan, and also the third one is PNG. In 22 countries that we work, about 13 countries have below replacement level. So we are talking about the speed of aging in the country in Asia and in Asian region that we work is even faster than before. Let's take like my country, Thailand. TFR today is 1.08 and 20% of the population are over 60 years old. So we are following behind Japan and Korea very fast. So now we are talking about trends about rapid aging, and even that so we are talking about emerging demographic dividends in the region. The period is very short for first demographic dividend with youth bulk, and this the region that we have persistently have gender disparity. Child marriage is high, adolescent pregnancy is also high, and now we are talking about how to leverage demographic dividend in the first period, which is very narrow. And now we are coming in with the aging society. So how we can ensure that policy is responsive to this change, the context that we face, which is really rapid. So we are talking about population anxiety in Asia Pacific, in the sense that many policy planners just think just like leaders anywhere else, that they think that when countries have low fertility and aging, it's really related to economic growth of the country, they're afraid of the population and the future, so they tend to have pro-natalist policy, thinking that whatever policy or incentive they have given they will manage to raise fertility. But in reality, we know that we can use NTA analysis to address education and health investment. Talking about resource allocation for youth in health and education, for instance, social protection system, making sure that addressing the deficit in old age support in aging society, whether or not you have enough saving to live in old age, or whether we have the healthcare system that can support them. Third one, I think is also really key in the region. We are talking about gender equality and family-friendly policy, that we need to make sure that we have child care support that can have good quality and affordable. Work-life balance and parental leave, and including male participation. And the last one here, we are talking about gender dynamics to understand economic contributions of women across age groups in this region. So what have we done? In the past 4 years that I was the coordinator for UNFPA Asia Pacific Regional Office, we really try to convey and try to bring in policy planners. We work from the supply side in terms of who produce NTA and those who are policy planners to use that knowledge. I think we are in the good direction, but we are not totally satisfied with the result yet because we found that it's still quite difficult for policy planner to understand what is NTA and how we can apply that to what we can be used in policy planning. I show the figures of the online training that we organized with the APA, in fact, Asian Population Association, back in the year 2021. We organized this event together with Universitas Yogyakarta in Indonesia. And this is the forum that we invited Minister of Finance in Thailand and Deputy Minister of Finance in Indonesia, who led that discussion. Professor Mason was there, Andrew was there to really give that speech. Luckily, these are the former minister who really understand about the NTA because Minister of Finance in Thailand, he was previously head of Supanada's office of National Economic and Social Development Plan. And Professor Suharto, Deputy Minister Suharto, was a former professor, economic professor. So both of them really managed to really bring in NTA and raise questions. Today, Indonesia, Professor Songyot Lee worked with Indonesia team supported by UNFPA to make sure that they really have clear understanding. And we bring in different people from Line Ministry, planning, economic, health, and also education together. And that's the context that we have been trying to do as UNFPA. Rather than focusing on working and supporting people to analyze NTA, we try to bring in policy planners who they don't need to know about how to calculate NTA, but they need to know big picture of NTA and how can make use to policy planning. I think we have made a good success and formed NTA team from in the region with more than 10 countries that managed to work on that. And what we also work a lot is on policy advocacy and communication to policy planners to make sure that you have received the NTA electronic booklet that we put simple communication by NTA. And we also have long-term partnership with our agency like UNSCAP with the APA and others. Yeah? And the outcome that we want to really see more robust national capacity for data-driven decision making. Because really when you think about NTA concept, it's very simple. But yet when we use the term technology, terminology, it became a bit complex to policy planners to understand what we can offer. So this is what we have been trying and work quite a lot in UNFPA. We try to get buy-in from the government. So we're talking about producer and user linkages. We are talking about governance. In some countries, we manage to see National Statistical Office taking the lead, like in Malaysia or in Vietnam or the Maldives. We have seen offices, NSO, who produce national account GDP figures, work also on NTA. In some countries, they're still forming the governance. Like in Indonesia, we have Ministry of Planning, Bappenas, working together with Minister of Finance, and they need to also bring in National Statistical Office, for instance. So we have a few modalities how we work and engage the government, but we try to make sure that it goes beyond just come up with the calculation, but to sustain the governance of NTA. And we're talking about producing brief or digestible format video and adding to translation. We have Mongolia translated with Yellow Book as well. Stakeholder engagement. We feel that if we can bring policy planners together, that manage and help them to exchange among themselves how they can make use of the NTA. And visual storytelling, that's also a very important component that we use. I just highlight two examples of how we work in the region. In fact, if you're talking in terms of capacity development, in the past 4 years that I was the coordinator, we organized one regional training. That was in 2022 that we brought in 15 countries together. And rather than have one person per country, we try to have country team to come in, 3 to 5 people. So they managed to take knowledge and apply that when they go back. They have a team to work together. And now we are thinking about having like e-learning because we know that they have increased increasing demand for knowledge. And that's something that we are trying to really design what kind of e-learning we need, not only for producer, but also for policy planners that we need to really work with them. And this the electronic booklet. In fact, I put prior works by APRO, Asia Pacific Regional Office of UNFPA. But before that, there were a lot of regional trainings, 4 or 5 of them that we had. I haven't put up the numbers of the training and participants that we had, but I believe that we have provided at least 100 participants who attended the training on NTA supported by UNFPA. And we also try to create community of experts in Asia Pacific, including the last one that Professor Song Yop Lee helped us with the training, that we managed to bring in NSO from Maldives and Bhutan together in that training, online training. And well, I have one example of demographic dividend atlas trying to put the NTTA analysis, support ratio, life cycle deficit, including other health and social economic variables. I will not show you the figure today, but we have 2 versions of this work. It's not yet done, ongoing work, but this is the figure that we show, demographic dividend atlas. And we're talking about economic contribution of economic growth by country by demographic dividend. You see that in 1970, you are talking about child dependency ratio. And now in the year 2000, many countries really are facing the aging, and it's going to be more in the following years. I have 2 slides showing the demographic dividend of 2 countries. This is India and China, 2 largest countries. And here we are talking about percentage of economic growth per capita, contribute to GDP per capita. And in China, China is aging faster than India in this graph. India, we continue to really appreciate and earn demographic dividend for some time. The hump that we see here, I put it here that smoothing will be needed because we need to have single year data. So again, this ongoing work that need to be adjusted. We also compare Pakistan and Papua New Guinea. In fact, we had the data for 26 countries that you can select comparison between countries to look at that demographic dividend by countries. And we have the second version in which we have 6 dimensions, 6 areas, demography, health, first dividend in which we have that in the first version of demographic dividend atlas. We also include second dividend, older person, economics and education. We have about 50 indicators that we put together, but again, that adjustment and quality check of data, that would be needed. So that's again, ongoing work that we would like to use that to address demographic dividend in the region. Opportunities and challenges. I put only one for opportunities. In the region as UNFPA, we have seen governments, we have seen countries really got very panicked about declining fertility, about having fewer child birth. And I've seen 4, 5, 6 countries in the region calling for women to have more babies, incentivize, incentive or whatever, to promote more childbirth. So from UNFPA, we would like to shift and anxiety debates into something that more sustainable. And also following ICPT principle on using gender and right-based decision making. We would like to see invest more in generational economy for sustainable development. And really, I think that we use the term NTA, NTTA as if people understand what we mean, what we are talking about. So to UNFPA, we thought that we probably need to use more the term of generational economy. We have heard the term talking about silver economy or care economy more, But when you talk about generational economy, that covers both of them. So that's something that we also try to simplify the language. And quality control of NTA estimate by different agency or university, because we have seen that in some countries, they have a few universities who came up with the estimate, how we can ensure that quality control can be undertaken. And also we are talking about availability of data and quality of data. Demographic dividend atlas updates that need to be done the following year. And the findings, how we can integrate that into national development strategies. We just got a request from Indonesia, for instance, how to use NTA with the National Development Plan, particularly in terms of longer vision for the country. And lastly, to look at gender disparity in demographic dividend benefits. I have 2 slides. And at UNFPA, I think our direction, our vision goes along NTA very well because we take life cycle approach on aging. When I first joined UNFPA about almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago, we found that the government response to aging is pretty much focusing on older person, not talking about a life cycle approach. And like what I said before, that we work in the region that we have high disparity, with high child marriage still, with high adolescent pregnancy, adolescent girls drop out from school because they became pregnant, for instance. So we're talking about to have dividend, you need to invest from a young age, adolescent girl, through education, through proper protection for them so they can have the employment, the right employment, and then you can, leave the dividend at a later age. Comparing to those who got pregnant at a younger age and, throughout the life course. So that fit really well, but I think we still struggle to really use a better knowledge, better language to engage policy planners, because we would like to hear more from them, from policy planners, whether they are from finance, planning, education, or health. So we really would like to strengthen partnerships. Again, both supply and demand, and expand training program and convene more exchange and lesson learned. And closing, I think that we can empower policy from empowered data. And like session 1 that Cecilia mentioned, that we are talking about NTA as new statistic. We can create sustainable future for all generations if we invest properly and really convene and connect policy planners and data producers together. So I finished my presentation here. Thank you.